This video will not judge you, but it will speak to a truth you may have been avoiding, one that has silently shaped your life. You are intelligent, more than most. And that intelligence is both your power and your burden. You feel the world differently, you see patterns where others see chaos, you anticipate consequences before they arrive, you analyze possibilities before action even begins. And yet, somehow, despite all this, you felt frustration, paralysis, and isolation. You've experienced moments when your own brilliance became your obstacle. You've been here before, haven't you? The meeting where your mind raced ahead of the conversation, only for your ideas to be ignored. The project where perfectionism stalled progress, leaving you exhausted and unseen. The social gathering where you overthought every word and gesture, ultimately withdrawing into silence. You were not lazy. You were not weak. You were too smart for the simplicity the world demands. History remembers brilliant minds not just for their achievements, but for the struggles they endured because of their intelligence. Isaac Newton, one of the greatest thinkers in history, described his own mind as a mind unfit for human company. Nikola Tesla, a genius whose inventions changed the world, confessed he felt cursed by his imagination. Even Ludwig Wittgenstein, the philosopher, wrestled with isolation and inner torment, saying that his intelligence made normal social life unbearable. The hidden trap is this: intelligence can backfire. It can make life more complex, more isolating, more exhausting. It creates a silent tension between your mind and your emotions, between your capabilities and your fulfillment, between the potential you see and the reality you experience. You are not flawed, you are highly intelligent, and this video is for you, the brilliant mind that sometimes feels trapped inside its own thoughts. Let's explore why intelligence, as much as it is a gift, can become a silent saboteur of your own life. Overthinking and analysis paralysis. Your mind cannot help but explore every option, every scenario, every possible outcome. Where others act instinctively, you hesitate. Where others accept ambiguity, you analyze endlessly. Every choice becomes a labyrinth, every decision a test of intellect. The result is indecision, procrastination, and the quiet frustration of watching opportunities slip away while your mind debates endlessly. Think about it. How many times have you postponed action because you were too aware of potential failure, too aware of the consequences, too aware of what might go wrong? This is not laziness. It is the natural byproduct of a brain wired to see everything, anticipate everything, and control everything. Perfectionism and fear of failure. Your intelligence sets impossible standards, not for others, but for yourself. You see flaws before anyone else notices them. You anticipate mistakes before they happen. And in doing so, you trap yourself in a cycle of relentless self-criticism. It's no wonder that some brilliant minds feel cursed. Perfectionism transforms achievement into anxiety, work into torment, and success into yet another burden to sustain. You fear making mistakes, and sometimes you avoid action altogether. You are not failing because you are incapable. You are failing because your mind has created conditions that are impossible to satisfy. Imposter syndrome. Even with accolades, even with recognition, you may feel unworthy. You may secretly fear that one day someone will see through your intelligence and expose you as a fraud. This isn't irrational. It is a reflection of how acutely aware you are of the vastness of what you do not know. You live at the edge of knowledge, aware that mastery is always partial, and that awareness fuels a quiet self-doubt. Difficulty developing perseverance. Early success often comes easily to the intelligent mind. Concepts click, skills develop faster than average, insights appear before effort seems necessary. But life eventually demands resilience, discipline, and sustained labor, qualities that are learned, not innate. When the brilliant mind encounters a challenge that cannot be solved with intellect alone, frustration and procrastination can emerge. You may sabotage yourself not because of fear of failure alone, but because you never built the endurance to weather a struggle without immediate insight. Being intelligent often comes with a unique set of social challenges. You notice the subtle dynamics in conversations that others ignore. You feel disconnected from peers whose interests seem shallow or whose reasoning appears superficial. Small talk feels tedious. Emotional nuance may confuse or frustrate you. And over time, these differences accumulate into a profound sense of loneliness, a feeling that no one truly understands your experience. Consider the historical examples. Charles Darwin, despite his transformative discoveries, withdrew from social life, finding ordinary conversation unfulfilling. Wittgenstein famously described feeling isolated from those around him, as if his intellect created a barrier between himself and the world. This is not arrogance. It is the cost of living in a mind that constantly operates on a higher level of abstraction than those around you. Social isolation reinforces self-doubt. It heightens anxiety, it amplifies fear of failure, and it can lead to a hidden cycle. The smarter you are, the more acutely aware you become of social subtleties, and the more you retreat, which in turn feeds loneliness and frustration. Intelligence does not shield you from emotional strain. In fact, it can magnify it. Your mind anticipates consequences before they occur. Your awareness makes you hyper-vigilant. You internalize problems that others dismiss. You feel pressure to predict, prevent, and control outcomes beyond your reach. And when reality does not conform to your expectations, disappointment is sharper, frustration is deeper, and self-criticism becomes relentless. Historical figures felt this weight acutely. Newton isolated himself for years, tormented by obsessive thought and the pressure of intellectual achievement. Tesla, consumed by ideas beyond his time, experienced periods of emotional breakdown. These brilliant minds were not broken. They were trapped in the tension between insight and life, knowledge and peace. You, the viewer, have likely felt this tension yourself. The mind that moves faster than the world, the awareness that everything is transient, the fear that your own potential is a burden rather than a gift. And yet, here is the truth. The cost of intelligence is not a punishment. It is a challenge, a call to evolve beyond mere intellect into wisdom. You know the feeling. Standing at a crossroads, every option meticulously weighed, every consequence projected, every potential mistake magnified in your mind. Your brain races through probabilities, calculating outcomes, yet your body remains frozen. You hesitate, you stall, and in that hesitation, life passes you by. This is the paradox of intelligence. Your gift allows you to see what others cannot, but it also creates invisible chains. The very capacity that should empower you now holds you hostage. Psychologists call this analysis paralysis, a state where decision-making is paralyzed by excessive consideration. Historical figures felt this weight too. Consider Charles Darwin, who delayed publishing on the origin of species for decades, fearing error and social backlash. Or Leonardo da Vinci, whose brilliance often led to unfinished masterpieces as he endlessly refined ideas before they could materialize. Intelligence without action is invisible. Insight without courage is wasted. Think back to your own life. How many projects, opportunities, or relationships have slipped through your fingers because your mind could not stop calculating? You may have convinced yourself it was caution, but deep down, you knew it was something more insidious. A subtle form of self-sabotage that disguises itself as thoughtfulness. The truth is simple, and yet it feels radical. Thinking too much can be a trap. Your brilliance is not failing you. It's simply asking for guidance, structure, discipline, awareness of when to act despite uncertainty. Perfectionism is often praised. People admire your high standards, your attention to detail, your refusal to settle for mediocrity. And yet, perfectionism is rarely a friend. It is a silent jailer, locking you in cycles of self-criticism and fear. The brilliant mind sees flaws everywhere, flaws in plans, in ideas, in even the smallest choices. Each imperfection becomes evidence that you are not enough. The result? Procrastination, indecision, anxiety, and resentment toward yourself. Historical examples abound. Nikola Tesla, for all his genius, suffered chronic insomnia and obsessive habits, unable to release his creations until they met his impossible standards. Wittgenstein, the philosopher, abandoned nearly everything he wrote because it never felt perfect. Even contemporary geniuses report sleepless nights and creative paralysis, trapped between potential and execution. Here's the psychological insight. Perfectionism is fear disguised as excellence. You fear failure, judgment, or irrelevance, so you postpone action. You sabotage your own progress under the guise of striving for brilliance. And the cruel irony is this: perfectionism rarely produces perfection. It produces anxiety, exhaustion, and the haunting feeling that life is always just one step ahead of your grasp. Despite accolades, despite evidence of capability, you may feel unworthy. You may fear being found out as a fraud. This is not vanity, it is imposter syndrome, a psychological phenomenon that haunts even the most accomplished minds. Why does this happen? Because the brilliant mind knows what it does not know. Where others stop, you continue. You recognize gaps, nuances, and uncertainties that most never perceive. And this heightened awareness creates a constant nagging doubt. Am I truly enough? Consider Albert Einstein, who once wrote, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I do not know." Or Socrates, who declared that wisdom begins in recognizing one's ignorance. Intelligence and humility are intertwined, but this humility often becomes internalized self-criticism. You question your every decision, your every word, your every action. And here is the subtle trap. Imposter syndrome often drives brilliance into self-sabotage. You delay, you over-prepare, you avoid taking risks. You sabotage your progress, not because you cannot succeed, but because you fear being imperfect in the eyes of yourself or others. Many highly intelligent people experience early success. Concepts come naturally. Skills develop quickly, achievements accumulate effortlessly, but life eventually demands grit, perseverance, and resilience, qualities that are rarely forged in a childhood of ease. When a challenge arrives that cannot be solved by intellect alone, the brilliant mind often hesitates, doubts, or gives up. This is the easy early life paradox. Because you learned quickly, you may never have learned how to persist through difficulty. You may not have developed the emotional stamina required to navigate failure, criticism, or frustration. Think of prodigies throughout history. Mozart, brilliant yet often conflicted. Darwin, hesitant despite intellectual mastery. Tesla, whose genius often collided with the practicalities of daily life. Early advantage does not inoculate against future struggle. It merely sets the stage for new vulnerabilities. The lesson is clear. Intelligence is not enough. To thrive, the brilliant mind must cultivate patience, resilience, and emotional endurance. Without these, brilliance can feel like a curse rather than a gift. Here is a truth many fail to recognize. Intelligence does not make you immune to error. In fact, it can deepen certain blind spots. Highly intelligent people can rationalize beliefs more effectively. They can construct intricate arguments to justify assumptions. They can convince themselves they are acting logically even when they are reacting emotionally. Psychologists call this the bias blind spot, the tendency to underestimate one's own cognitive biases. This is why some brilliant minds sabotage themselves. You may recognize flaws in others with ease, but fail to see them in yourself. You overanalyze situations, create elaborate mental strategies, and yet overlook the emotional or social factors that are crucial for success. Your intellect becomes a filter, not a guide. A brilliant lens that sometimes distorts rather than clarifies. The weight of intelligence is not merely social or practical, it is profoundly emotional. Anxiety, depression, burnout. These are common companions of brilliant minds. Why? Because your brain is constantly active. It anticipates, it analyzes, it predicts. Cortisol floods your system when your mind perceives failure or conflict. Emotional overload becomes chronic. Sleep, rest, and relaxation feel foreign, almost alien, because your intelligence refuses to stop. Historical examples resonate here as well. Nikola Tesla struggled with insomnia and anxiety. Isaac Newton isolated himself, driven to obsession. Friedrich Nietzsche, who understood human psychology and philosophy deeply, grappled with intense physical and emotional distress throughout his life. Brilliance often comes with a cost, a price paid in quiet suffering. And here is the validation you need. This suffering is not a flaw. It is a consequence of a mind that sees too much, calculates too fast, and feels too deeply. You are not broken. You are highly intelligent, and your mind has outpaced the coping mechanisms that most people develop naturally. Intelligence isolates in ways most people cannot comprehend. You know it already. You feel it in conversations where your insights soar over others' heads. You sense it in rooms where small talk feels trivial, superficial, almost meaningless. You search for minds that resonate on your wavelength, and often you come up empty. This is not arrogance. This is the reality of a mind built for complexity, nuance, and foresight. And here is the painful truth. Isolation amplifies the traps we have already discussed. Overthinking grows louder. Perfectionism becomes relentless. Imposter syndrome whispers endlessly in quiet moments. And emotional disconnection fuels frustration, resentment, and a sense that the world will never truly understand you. Historical examples reflect this clearly. Blaise Pascal, a mathematician and philosopher, experienced intense periods of solitude, describing the human condition as inherently isolating. Isaac Newton reportedly avoided social gatherings for fear of distraction and misunderstanding. Nikola Tesla, whose imagination could not be contained, found companionship in work rather than people. Isolation is not a punishment. It is a byproduct of a mind too sharp for ordinary life. You too may have felt this. The alienation of intellect is not a weakness. It is a signal that your mind has evolved ahead of your environment. The challenge is not to fit in, but to learn to thrive despite isolation, to cultivate relationships that honor your mind and nurture your spirit. Now, let's shift. Understanding these struggles is not enough. You must transform awareness into action. Intelligence is not the curse. Mismanagement of intelligence is the trap. Here is the pivotal insight. Brilliance becomes freedom when paired with emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and deliberate practice in real-world contexts. The mind alone is not enough. You must integrate thought, emotion, and action. First, develop emotional self-awareness. Observe your reactions. Notice when anxiety or perfectionism is driving your decisions, and ask yourself, is this problem real, or is it my mind overextending? Keep a journal, track recurring mental patterns, and separate the information your intellect generates from the decisions your body and heart require. Second, embrace deliberate imperfection. Action matters more than flawless thought. Historical geniuses often completed work that was imperfect by their own standards, but transformative in impact. Darwin published despite lingering doubts. Tesla shared inventions even when unrefined. Even Wittgenstein allowed philosophical texts into the world that were incomplete by his rigorous expectations. You are permitted the same freedom. Completion trumps perfection. Third, combat imposter syndrome with perspective. Remember, awareness of what you do not know is not evidence of inadequacy. It is evidence of wisdom. Socrates recognized that true intelligence begins with humility. Einstein acknowledged the vastness of what remained unknown. Your doubt is not a flaw, it is a reflection of depth. Allow it to guide you, not imprison you. Brilliance alone can illuminate problems, but wisdom guides the way. Philosophers from Nietzsche to Schopenhauer understood the tension you feel. Knowledge without balance creates suffering. Insight without action becomes a burden, and self-awareness without integration becomes torment. You may ask, if intelligence is such a gift, why does it feel like a curse? The answer lies in the distinction between mind and spirit, intellect and life. Brilliance informs, but it cannot live. Wisdom transforms knowledge into freedom. Wisdom allows you to act decisively, love without overanalyzing, create without perfectionism, and navigate life without fear of every misstep. Historical examples illuminate this. Leonardo da Vinci balanced scientific inquiry with art, finding expression that transcended mere calculation. Pascal balanced intellectual rigor with philosophical reflection on faith and human nature. Nietzsche turned his immense understanding of human psychology into philosophical frameworks that continue to guide human thought. Centuries later, they show the path. Intelligence, when integrated, becomes liberation, not oppression. It is time to speak directly to you, not the version that overthinks, overanalyzes, and hesitates, not the version that isolates itself in mental perfectionism or emotional exhaustion, not the one haunted by imposter syndrome. You are the human capable of brilliance without self-sabotage. You are the mind that sees more, understands deeper, and feels with acuity, and you are not destined to be trapped by your own intelligence. You can reclaim your life. Here is how. Set boundaries with your mind. Limit rumination. Allow time for decisive action. Recognize when thinking has served its purpose, and act. Integrate emotion and intellect. Practice self-awareness. Pause before judgment. Observe your feelings as data, not directives. Take imperfect action. Release the obsession with flawless execution. Move forward despite uncertainty. Seek connection intentionally. Find peers, mentors, or collaborators who resonate with your mind, not to validate your brilliance, but to nourish it. Redefine success. Success is not merely intellectual achievement, it is alignment between your mind, heart, and life. You are not trapped, you are evolving. Your intelligence is a tool, a sword that can cut through confusion, fear, and indecision if wielded consciously. So here is the takeaway. Being brilliant does not have to be a trap. You are not broken, cursed, or doomed by your mind. The challenges you face, overthinking, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, isolation, are signals, not verdicts. They indicate that your intelligence requires integration, emotional awareness, and deliberate practice in action. You may stumble, you may overanalyze, you may doubt yourself, but every step of awareness moves you closer to freedom. Every moment you choose action over hesitation, connection over isolation, wisdom over mere calculation, you reclaim your life. Historical figures remind us that brilliance is never simple, but it is always powerful. Tesla, Newton, Darwin, Wittgenstein, and countless others navigated the tension between intelligence and life. They demonstrate the path. Struggle is inevitable, but mastery is possible. And here is the most important truth for you. Your intelligence was never a curse. It was a gift. It becomes freedom only when you stop letting it control you and start using it to guide you. Your mind is powerful. Your insight is deep. Your potential is boundless. Choose to wield it wisely. Choose to integrate it with your life, your emotions, and your purpose. Choose to be free. Before you go, take a moment. Reflect on one truth you've seen in yourself during this video. Comment below, "I recognize my intelligence," and finish the sentence honestly. Share this with someone who needs to hear they are not trapped by their brilliance. And if you want more content that speaks to your mind, your struggle, and your evolution, subscribe. Dive deeper into the psychology of human potential, self-awareness, and transformation. Remember this, you were never too much. You were just unprotected. You were never cursed. Your intelligence is your power. Learn to wield it, and your life becomes limitless.